This hero design is one of the most popular layouts out there, and it is used on professional websites because it has a clear call to action and it communicates the message in a very precise way. Now, let me show you something. If I were to go in and show you how responsive it is, if I make the screen smaller and smaller, notice that the hero text size gets smaller, and when I also get the screen to be smaller and smaller, you can see the spacing is very precise. And when it gets to a mobile site, I mean, it just maintains its sizes and its spacing. To achieve this, you're going to be using what is known as Clamp. And I use a framework which makes the whole design very, very easy. And once you design it, it'll be very easy to go back and even share this design. In fact, I'm going to share this design with you guys in the community. So let me just show you quickly how I was able to design this. So for me to achieve this really fast, I'm using SiteKrafter Pro, which is our Divi 5 framework. And by the way, if you are a Divi user and you'd like to be part of the Divi community, head over to diviuniversity.com. This is a community which is absolutely free. You can join and share ideas and also ask questions in the community. As you can see here, we have a lot of posts and a lot of communication going on. Also, I have a course for Divi 5, and this is the Divi 5 Mastery. This course only goes for $27, and as you can see here, it has more than 726 students. So go ahead and check it out. All right, so over here now, I'm going to show you how to design this from scratch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all delete this section and start from scratch. So in order for us to achieve this, we want to click here on this row. So we're going to start with an equal row, and in this row we're going to add some text modules. So I'm just going to add the first one, and what I'm going to do to this is to head over now to the advanced attributes, and then I'm going to start adding my classes. Now this is a unique way of designing. It's called class-based designing, whereas majority of people, when they purchase Divi, they use what is known as inline editing, which is totally different. So I'm just going to name this admin label as a class, and then I'm also going to name the attribute class, and then I just need to, for now, just center this. Okay, so I'm going to say text center. Great. So now that I have my text centered, I'm just now going to duplicate this a few times because I know I'm going to have a heading and I'm also going to have a paragraph text. So after the paragraph text, I know I'm going to have buttons. So I'm going to click on this plus button here, and I'm going to add my group. Next, I'm going to add a button in this group, and here it is. I'm going to select that. So far, I'm just going to add a single button here because I know I'm going to style it using SiteKrafter. So now that I have these three elements, the next thing I'm going to do now is to add some padding on my section because it's very, very important I have my padding. So I'm going to click here or click this gear icon. And then over here on the advanced tab, you go to attributes, and then I'm going to label it. Again, I'm going to label it class, and I'm going to also go to the attribute and call it class. And then over here now, I am going to choose my section. So I'm going to go with section medium because that's what goes with my design here. But of course, you can change this at any given time. So with that now, the next thing I'm going to do now is to add my image. So it's going to come after my group. So I'm going to click on this plus button and search for my image module. And here it is. And then over here now, I can just choose my image. Maybe I'll go with this one here for this example. Click on upload. And now I have my image. Now, of course, you can go in and change this image at any given time. And there's so many images you can choose from. All you have to do is to choose, the one that you think works with whatever design you're working with. All right. So now that I have all these elements, the next thing I need to do is to go into my row settings. Next, I want to now come over here to the column, design, layout. So here I need to completely remove the horizontal gap because I want to add my custom gaps, which are fluid and responsive. So I'm just going to enter 0 and 0 in here, hit enter. So now you can see that everything is all closer together. There's no spacing. Let's move on to the next part. And now I need to go in and paste my text that I'll be working with. So I'm just going to copy this like that. And then back over here now. I'm going to start with the top. Click here on this gear icon. Paste my text. Move on to the next one. Paste my text. Now, since the first one here is going to be a heading, it's going to be comprised of just a few texts. So I'm going to delete some of this like that. Okay. So now all I have is those three words. So I'm just going to make this a capital, and I'm also going to make this P a capital letter P. Great. So now that I have that, I'm going to go back to advanced attributes. Now remember, we created our attribute already. So now I'm just going to go back in and set my sizes. So over here, I'm going to go with heading. So I know it's going to be a heading. So I'm going to go to my custom headings. Oops. Heading. So I'm going to go with 7XL. Now it's already centered, which is fantastic. I also want it to be bold. So I'm going to type in, let's say 700, and I'm going to choose font 700. Look at that. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to move on to the next part. Now you may be asking me, why don't we do this manually, and why can't we create presets? So by the time I go into the design mode here, add all the sizes, make sure it's responsive, and then add a preset, that's going to take me a long time. However, with this setting that I've done here, I can go straight in and create a preset for this in case I need to use it somewhere else on my website, which is very, very easy. Now, the advantage of this text is it is fully responsive. You don't need to go in and add different sizes in your tablet, or a different size of the font in your phone. No, once you add it like this, it is automatic. You don't even need to do anything else. And this is the power of SiteKrafter framework. All right, so let's move on to the next item. And this is my paragraph text. Again, I'm going to come over here to advanced attributes, and I'm going to go into the class itself. So in here, I am going to choose my text because this is custom font sizes. So I'm going to go with large. Now, if I need to, I can make it extra large depending on how I want this text to look. In fact, I think I love extra large now. I think that's much better. Now, while we are here, I'm also going to add my margin top, which is MT. So I'm going to set this to, okay, medium is a bit too much. So I'm going to go with small. Okay, that's looking great. I'm going to close out of here. Now let's move on to the button itself. So I'm going to select the button here, go to advanced attributes, and I'm going to give it a class. Now, I know you could be saying, well, Mac, why don't you just create the button using the inline editor and just make it precise? But right now, I just want something basic. So I'm going to say button primary, which is PRI. Okay, and then I'm also going to say button medium. So I don't want it too big, so I'm going to go with medium, but I can also go with large. In fact, I think large is better. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to need this. So I'm going to close out of here, duplicate this button here like that. And then I'm going to go into my group settings, come over here to design because I want these buttons side by side. So what I need to do now is to go to my layout and make sure that I change this to row. Now they are side by side, but I don't like this gap here. I would like to use my own gap. I'm going to come over here to advanced attributes, and let me add my attribute. So again, it's going to be class, and I'm going to give the attribute name as class as well. And then here, there's a few things I need to do. So first of all, I'm going to give it a gap of small. Now watch how it changes there. You see that? It's very precise. I can go with large if I want to, but I think small works great here. All right. So while we're here, I also need to add a margin to the top. So I'm going to say M, and I'm going to go with medium. I think medium works fine for my margin here. And then I'm going to close out of here, go back to design, and just make sure that my heading is centered. Did you see that? it just makes things much easier that I've centered everything. Next, I'm going to come over here to my image because I also need to give it a margin to the top. Okay. So before I do that, I just want to make sure that on my row settings here, everything is zeroed out because I want to make sure that I use custom sizes. So I'm going to go to 0, 0 here, hit enter. All right. So now I can come to my image and then go to advanced attributes. And again, I'm going to name it class. And then over here, I'm going to add my margin top. So it's going to be M. So this time I'm going to go with large. Okay. That's a bit too much. So I think medium works. Okay. So I'm going to go with medium. And pretty much I am happy with my design. What I can do as well here is I can change this to a different color if I want to by adding my tertiary color or my secondary color. So anyway, here on my sections, there's also one thing that I want to do, and that is just to remind you that if you want to add any colors, you can just go in and change your color by coming over here to the class. Now to add your color, it's very simple. You can just say BG. Now, depending on what color you want to use, you can go with a primary color 50. And it'll just give you that that color. It's a shade of the primary color. And the cool thing about these shades is you can even go with 500, which is the actual color of my primary color. And then I can go in here and reverse this to whatever layout I need. So here I have primary. I can go in here and change this to, let's say, gray. I can also change it to my accent color. You see that? So there's several ways. I mean, I can apply my background color here. In fact, you know what? I think this accent color looks really nice. So what I may want to do is to go here into my heading and change this to a darker color, which is on the attributes. So I'm going to come over here. So for my text color, I hadn't defined it. You can see here it's not defined yet. I'm going to say text gray. And you can see my colors are here now. I'm going to go with gray 700, for example. And you can see now it's nice that my contrast is much better. And I'm also going to do the same. I'm just going to copy it here. It saves me from copying it and typing it every time. Move on to the next item here. And I'm going to do the same. Go to my attributes, and here in my attributes, I'm just going to paste it like that. And now I've just transformed my hero area. It's responsive, and I'm sure you can agree with me that the spacing here is intentional. And when I do a preview of this, you can see now everything looks great. And when I make this smaller, you can see everything is just really nice. See that? So this is how you design websites that are responsive. I am going to share this design. So to install it, in fact, let me show you how I'm going to share it. I'm going to come over here to the top and I'm going to say heading 01 like that. And then I'm going to export it. So once exported, I can see it's right here. I'm going to share that JSON file. And in your case, if you want to import it, you just have to, I'm just going to delete this and show you how to import it. So when you start a brand new page and you want to use this heading on your own website, you can just come over here, click on import. And then what you want to do is to choose the file. In fact, if there's any presets, you might as well just choose presets here. But if you don't need them, you can just remove that. Okay. So all you need to do now is to click here on no file selected and then choose heading 01, which is in your downloads folder. And then once you do that, you import the layout and there we go. and you can literally start using this in your designs. I'll be sharing a lot of these layouts in the community. And so for those of you that use SiteKrafter, it's going to be a huge benefit, because you don't have to go through the whole process of spending 10-15 minutes trying to design this. You can just import it on your website and then start using it. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again in the next one. Take care.